Hello there. So, the Google Pixel Fold here. So, this phone right here. Ooh, right, and it does this and that. It's a great, it's a great phone. I realize my description says camera. I have to go and fix that. But it's a great phone, hands down, absolutely. So let's talk tech about why I'm returning it, shall we? Let's get started. Hello and welcome. I hope everybody's had a good week. So here we are again, talking about the Google Pixel Pro Fold, right? So this device right here, this is what we're going to be talking about. Now you're going to be saying, but we just talked about this last week, and you're absolutely right. Okay. And I thought it would be a couple of weeks before we would do this update. However, there's a couple of reasons why we're doing this so quickly, and it's also why there were so many typos in what I just sent out to you. My apologies. So the first reason we're talking about this right now is because I thought I had a month to decide whether or not I was going to keep it. Yeah, well, turns out reality is I only had 2 weeks. So glad I checked. Because that would have been a problem. So here we are. So that's probably the biggest reason that we're talking about it right now. But the other reason is that I figured out faster than I expected, that this is just not the phone for me right now, at least. So because of those reasons, we're here to talk about what the heck is going on. So I've been making notes as I've been using it, for the past, I guess, what have I had it? A little over a week now. So I've been just making notes as I've been going along. So I've got a baker's dozen of things that I noticed about this phone, which led me to this decision that I'm going to start the process this weekend of sending it back. With that in mind, if you have any specific questions about this particular phone, and how it works and anything at all that you want me to test or look at, please do so this weekend. So hopefully you're going to see this video soon. If you're watching this video, let's say after September 15th, I probably won't be able to help as much with specific things. I mean, I'm taking a lot of screen captures and photos and stuff of things that people might want to know. So feel free to reach out. You can do it wherever you're watching in the comments. You can go ahead and pop it in, or you can reach out to me here, and we'll take my best shot at trying to either show you and give you the information or point you in the right direction. Alrighty, let's dive in. So, and these reasons that I'm going to give you are not in any particular order. It's just things that occurred to me as I've been using it, and I jotted them down. So the first one is absolutely hands down, this is a very good phone, right? So this is a good phone. I am not in any way saying that this is not a phone to consider, because it absolutely is. You'll see, got my other phone here. It's a little bit smaller than my Pixel 8 Pro, just a smidge. It is definitely, thicker. Actually, it doesn't really seem that way on here, but it is thicker. But, it's like twice the thickness of this. I mean, I do have a thick case on this. So let me take this off for the sake of comparison. Okay, so if you see here, so this is the foldable, and this is my 8 Pro, right? So it is definitely a chunkier phone, which would make sense, right? Because essentially it's two phones. And in this state, right, when I'm just using it like a regular phone, it's fine. It's absolutely fine. I can do everything that I need to. I can work with it one-handed. It's very comfortable in my hand, all that kind of good stuff. But that's fine. However, when you open it and then you try to use it, I have been struggling to find a comfortable way to hold this phone. I'm not really thrilled about like holding it here, because this is the screen for it when it's in the closed mode. So I've been trying to hold it over here, but when I do that, I keep triggering things on the screen that I don't mean to, because there's really not much of a bezel on here. So there's not a really good way to just hold this phone and work with it. So that's the first thing that I was like, I was just fumbling with it way too much. It's like, when I'm using my phone, I don't want to have to be playing it. Like my hand is not wide enough to hold this phone the way I hold, my regular phone, which is, pinched between my fingers. Maybe, somebody out there has some tips about good ways to hold a phone like this when you're working with it. I should have been a little bit more suspicious, I guess, because I noticed a lot of the pictures I saw of using this phone in the open state, people either had it laying down on like a table or their lap or something, or, they were doing it like this, which is a little easier to hold. But again, you do have both screens here, but it's just not it's not the big screen, right? You're still kind of working with two smaller screens. So again, that may be a me thing. Absolutely. Okay. So the next thing is the fold in the middle of the screen. Absolutely. So, actually that showed it up really good. So like you can see that fold. I don't care what anybody else, all the people who got this phone for free are saying, oh yeah, it's not. You can see it. There's no two ways about it. For me, it's annoying because those kinds of details bother my brain. If nothing else, it's distracting. Now, again, your mileage may vary, but absolutely, that is how it is for me. Hey, Tech, how you doing? Dr. X, I'm sure some look at the fact that it opens like a book is a really cool feature. And then I look at it and say that's the first thing to break, right? Well, that's just it. I mean, the reports are the first generations, the early days of these kinds of phones, that was absolutely an issue, and it was an absolute fail point. It does sound like, from a technical standpoint, like they've resolved that. Now, I don't know that anybody who's had like a foldable phone like this for 5 or 6 years have been using it, so I don't know what the timeline is. But evidently, that's like been resolved. But this crease in the middle of the phone is still there. Right? And I don't know that they're ever going to be able to take that away, because when it closes like this, like there has to be something that lets it close. So, I understand that, but it annoys the daylights out of me. Also, when I'm working on it, right, and I'm touching and I'm dragging things and all the stuff that you do on a phone, it bothers me to touch that. And again, this may be a me thing. Like there's, everybody's got their thing, right? Some people don't like to wear wool because it's itchy, like that type of thing. So for me, this is itchy wool sweater because it bothers me to feel that divot every time I go through and I do things. Why did that just get, okay, well that's that. I know that's on the list. So we'll wait on that particular issue. Yeah, I have issues with this phone, that's for sure. But it is a good phone. I will absolutely admit that. Okay. Dr. X, while you're reading the internal screen, getting fingerprints all over the external one, right? The logistics of a case you can hold both and still protect it while it's open is puzzling. Well, so the cases that I've seen, and there is a link in the description for some cases that you can go look at, but the cases seem to sit on the back of the phone. So let me try to get this open again. So it sits on the back of the phone, and it doesn't open all the way to this. So the case is going to be like this one is, right? So it would be like on, this is not a right case for it, but it would be here. And then this piece would be open or closed depending on the mode that you were using it in. So the case is really just covering that back part. It's not covering the whole thing. If that helps any. If that doesn't, let me know and I can try to explain that better. Like I said, these are out of order, so I'm already jumping around because I know I'm saying things. Hopefully I remember what was just in my head. So another thing that I found out as I was using it is that it doesn't do the battery share thing, right? So with a lot of the other Pixel devices, when it's charging or not, you can put something on it and it will charge off of the phone. Which is a handy thing. It's not something I use a lot, but it is a handy thing. Like you can help out a friend, or if you've got another device that you need to charge. And that works with at least my Pixel 8 Pro. I can do that if the phone is plugged in and being charged, or when the phone is just out and about like this, right? So it works either way. This one, the Fold, doesn't do it at all. It's not an option. And from a technical standpoint, I don't know why, because it has a regular back, like it should have been there, but it's just not. Now, again, how big a deal this is going to be up to you, but I'm just sharing the thoughts that I had. Okay, good, doctor. I'm glad that helped. I think I mentioned this last time. I'm pretty sure I did, yeah. Is the fact that you can't use a stylus with it, right? And to be honest, if I could use a stylus with this, we might be having a different conversation because I am a freak about styluses. I love to use a stylus, and that may have been the game changer for me. Now, this is very much a Pixel 9 Pro Fold issue. There are other phones out there, Samsung in particular, I know, that you can use a stylus on, but this one doesn't work. It's not a stylus device. I don't know why they made that choice. Okay, so another thing that I found very difficult is taking screen captures. So, well, in case you, this again may not be something everybody does, but because I'm in IT, because I do software design for a living, I'm very often having to take pictures of what the screen looks like. So on this phone, if you hold down the power and the volume, it takes a picture of whatever's on the screen for you. Well, trying to do that on this, in the closed mode, it's fine. It's the same process, right? So you've got the two buttons and you'd press it and you'd get the screen capture. You can do it in this mode, but again, I personally need two hands to do that. And you see, I'm not kidding when I'm trying to fumble around with this. Like, you have to I have to get the right leverage on the back of it with my thumb so that I don't drop it, so that I'm pressing it. But even like this, it's still very awkward, and it's not fast enough, and it's awkward. I could do it, but it's extremely awkward for me to do this. Now, again, it could be because of my hand size, could be a lot of different things, but yeah, that is definitely an issue. Whoopsie, I just screwed up my screen. 1 second. While I'm getting the screen back, for anybody who's new here, welcome. My name is Kathleen. I'm here as your tech coach. The short version of the story is, as I've mentioned, IT and software and technology is my day gig. It's also my hobby. I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated by the possibilities of it. So because of that, my friends, family, neighbors, and coworkers tend to come to me when they have a question, when they want a recommendation, when they want help solving a problem, that type of thing. And I know not everybody has somebody to do that, so hello. That's why we're here. Every week I bring a topic, but you are always welcome to reach out with other topics if you have other questions. So please don't hesitate. And you can always do that right here at the website. So go for it. Okay. So let me see here. Okay. So yeah, awkward as daylights to work with and hold when it's in opened mode, right? The other thing that is missing is the camera. So the camera works great. Okay, so let me again just say up front, the camera is great, but it doesn't have all of the same features that my other phone has. So it has included AdMe, which I'm sorry, I meant to check to see if AdMe is on my regular phone yet. Let me take a look while I'm doing this. So it does. The new phone has AdMe on it, but it does not have the action. What do they call it? Hang on, I've got an action pan, which I use a lot because of the dog, because it's really handy for that. So let me just see. Yeah, no, the 8 doesn't have it yet, but it's going to come to the 8. So the Add Me feature, if you're not familiar with it by name yet, is this new technology where you can take a picture of something or people or whatever, and then you can then step in. So, I mean, obviously you'd need like a selfie stick or a tripod or something or somebody else to hold the phone, but you can then step in like next to whatever it was and take another picture, and it merges the two so it looks like you were in the original shot. Not sure how useful it is, but I was looking forward to playing with it, and I really didn't get around to playing with that too much. I tried a couple of times, but the lighting wasn't good. But losing the action pan is absolutely a problem for me because, like I said, I use that for the dog all the time, so kind of an issue. Again, wouldn't be a deal breaker on its own, but all of these things combined are the issue for me. I will say the speakers are impressive, but again, the problem becomes like when you're holding it, very often I found myself covering the speakers, which made them not as useful. Again, not in this mode, but when it was open. Again, because as I was trying to find good ways to hold it, I kept ending up covering those up. So the speakers are impressive, but any speaker is not going to be impressive if you're covering it with your hands, right? That's just how it goes. Okay, yeah, I did skip ahead. So again, just to be clear, the screen clarity is amazing. It is a great screen. It looks great. It's crisp. The colors are great. But as I mentioned earlier, it's distracting to have the line up the middle. So that kind of wrecks the fact that it's got a very, very nice screen on it for me. And then, of course, the fact that you can feel that fold is distracting as daylights. Okay, so this has multiple cameras on it. Right, so again, in this mode, it absolutely works just like you expect. The camera is, right there in the center. That's all fine. When you are in the open mode, see again, I don't want to drop this because I want to get my refund, so I'm being very careful. But the camera in open mode is all the way up here in the corner. Now, I understand it couldn't be in the middle because of the fold, but having it all the way over here, because I'm so conditioned to look in the middle, meant that I was always looking away from the camera. So could I have learned to adjust? Absolutely. But I'm just saying out of the box, it is, and I mean, it is all the way. It's like right, I can't do this backwards. Okay. It's all the way up in this corner right here. That's where the camera is. So that would feel a little wonky, at least for a little while until you got used to it. So Tech is asking, how smooth does the screen feel? So the screen feels like any other. It's very smooth, right? I mean, it feels like any other Pixel phone that I've ever had, practically any other phone I've had, until you get to the middle, and then you feel this divot, and your finger literally, it goes down and comes back up again. So, I mean, it's a smooth transition, but it's kind of like if you run your finger, I just realized this, it feels like if you run your finger along the seam on your jeans. That's how it feels, right? It's not that your jeans are ripped or anything, but when you run your finger across that seam, that much of a impact, that's how you feel it. It does glide pretty well. Glide as far as opening. So, I mean, so let's talk about the opening thing, okay? So, again, it's not, I'd had the other one. So, this is a very smooth thing. So these are the buttons here on the other side right here. That's one button, that's the other, and then there's no buttons on this side of it. But there's also no obvious way to open the phone, right? So when I go to open it, it's really hard. I'd have to be a contortionist. Here, let's try it this way. Duh. Okay, so if I just put two fingers here, I can get it, but I have to really push down on it. So this is an accessibility thing, right? So somebody who has any problems with their hands are going to really struggle, because I struggle and I don't technically have a lot of problems with my hands. I kind of expected a little cutout or something that you could kind of slip your finger into to kind of open it, but it is a little awkward to open. Again, maybe it's a technique thing and you get used to it over time, but it's not super easy, and there is definitely an accessibility issue around that, which is an issue for me, because I want things to be accessible. That's part of the benefit of technology, is it should be, something that helps everybody. So if you're having, any questions or concerns about that, yes, that is definitely an issue. For anybody out there who's just finding us, and would like to get more content like this, if you want to join the mailing list, I always send out an email to everybody on the mailing list first to let them know what the next show is going to be and whatever else is going on. So you can go to yourtechcoach.com/mailing list and you can get on there that way. Tech has got a lot of questions. I love it. Other than a stylus and the crease, what would make you buy one? Well, I'm geeky, right? So I like geeky toys. So there's that. And that was so in when I did the unboxing, that was part of why I got this, is because I've never really understood the attraction of the fold things. Now, understand, I do like big phones. The phone that I've got is considered to be a big phone. Because I use this more as a computer than I do as a phone. I don't really want to talk to anybody on the phone, but it's a little computer for me and it's with me all the time. So this is my portable computer. When I know I'm going out and I might have need of a more functional computer, I tend to throw my Chromebook into my bag because it is a fully functional computer, does all the things I want, but it works in laptop mode, it works in tablet mode, it has a stylus, it has a touch screen, so it works on all those kinds of things, and I can connect it to my phone either wired or wirelessly to use the internet connection. So I think that this is for people who need that slightly bigger screen to do work or whatever when they're out and about, but maybe they don't have, or for whatever reason don't want to carry something like a Chromebook or a tablet. That's my best guess. I have been hard pressed to come up with use cases for this phone, especially in light of the fact that depending on which one you buy and how you're buying it, like I got a really nice discount because I'm a Google Fi user. So I got like $400 off on this phone, which is phenomenal. But you're still talking, $1,500 to $2,000. Well, for $2,000, I can get a kick-ass Chromebook. I can get a kick-ass Chromebook for half that. So again, the use case for this is a little bit fuzzy because I have other and probably better options than this for that. Hey, Sadie, how you doing? What would make me get one is if tech would buy me one. There you go, right? As a gift, absolutely. As a gift, accept it. If you can get this as a gift, go for it. Why not, right? It is interesting. Probably the thing that I found most useful when I was using this is the fact that you can put like one application here and one application here. That was kind of handy. I don't know how often I need that. You can sort of almost kind of get that on a regular phone because like you can put one app at the top and one app at the bottom. Obviously, you're not going to see as much of it. When you do it on something like this, you're going to get basically two phones, right? Two phones worth of screen of it. So from that standpoint, sure, there's some functionality there that's handy. But is it enough to justify the cost? Not for me. So there's that. Tech, is the Galaxy Fold better in your opinion, or is technology not there yet? So I've not had my hands on a more recent Galaxy Fold, and if you swing by tonight when we play games, I can explain why in a little bit more detail. So I don't really have a really good answer on that. But that said, from what I've read and what I've heard from other people, the Fold is the Fold on whatever Fold phone you buy. The Fold is the Fold on whatever Fold phone you buy. Say that 3 times fast. So yeah, I mean this is just the reality of the Fold phones. Ooh, look there, that glare picks it up really good. So there you go. So hopefully that answers it. Yeah, I mean basically if that's what you're looking at, I would really suggest going into one of the stores and getting your hands on it and run your finger across it and see if it bothers you like it bothered me. It may not. There's people out there that are going to be absolutely in love with this phone, and they are not wrong. It is a good phone. But these are the reasons I'm returning it. Okay. So, well, yeah, I mean, so you and I, come at this from a slightly different angle, Tech, but whoops, hang on. I just shut everything. Oh, please tell me I didn't just shut everything down. Okay, no, I just minimized everything because that's helpful. Hang on. I got to bring you all back. But yeah, so here's the thing. From a technical standpoint, I don't know that the Fold is a solvable problem. I don't know enough about the realities of what they're doing to be able to tell. Sorry, there's certain things I have to have up on the screen in order to do this, and I really need to stop closing them. Okay, hopefully that's good enough. So until they fix the crease, I don't know that the crease is necessarily a bug or an issue. It just may be what it is, right? Just like again, the seams on your pants, right? Most of the time your pants are going to have seams, maybe one on the outside, maybe two, one on the inside or the outside. But it is what it is. So I don't know that it's anything that needs to be fixed. Can they make it less obvious? Can they make it less tactile when you're going through a screen? I have no idea. Hardware is not my thing. Software is my thing. Tech, I don't think so, unless it's not a book anymore. Right. So, I mean, if you really want to get in the Wayback Machine, if you're at all into all this kind of stuff, go and look at the Xerox pack. So it's a Palo Alto, I can't remember the rest of it. But a lot of the stuff that we're working with today as new cool technology, they worked on 20 years ago. And one of the things that they were working on was digital signage for like retail and like public spaces like train stations, bus stations, all that kind of stuff. And the idea was it wouldn't be like a physical hard thing like this. It would be almost like paper or material that you could roll up, but when you hang it, and plug it in, that it would show whatever, video or content. And so I've wondered where that technology went and if they're going to be using it any place. Now, our friend JD, who had worked for a company that was doing some really cool stuff with like technology and screens and all that kind of stuff, I think actually that would be a good question for them, because I know that they were doing most of that kind of stuff on like really large screens, like large monitors. But I don't know if they had looked into or if they had a chance to work with anything that would be more like wraparound. So just for people who are not up to date on this, this is somebody from our community. We play games on Friday night. And they were working with a company that was doing like signage and things like, Super Bowl and like big events. And I know like the thing that he showed us was one where like, you could get your picture with the players and they were life size, they were on a screen and all that. But I wonder if they had tried to do something that maybe would wrap around like the posts in like the arenas and that kind of stuff. So that would be an interesting conversation next time they cruise by. Tech, like those futuristic bracelets that unfold off your hand. Right, yeah, that kind of thing. Dr. X, I'd be interested in seeing how long it hands in the hands of the average toddler. Well, I mean, let's face it, any technology is not going to last very long in that. But yeah, as soon as a toddler tries to fold it the other way, it'll be game over. Depends on how strong that particular toddler is going to be. Alrighty, so let's keep going here. So we're talking about the reasons why I'm returning this phone. Again, that doesn't mean anything like it's not. I want to get back to the fact that it is a very, very good phone. Absolutely. And I'm saying like, and also for context, for anybody who doesn't know me, I did not get this. I am not influencer level. I don't get free shit. I paid for this, which is why it's going back, because like that was money. But what was I saying? Oh yeah. So, I paid for this. This is not, I am not at all doing any kind of, hey, they sent me free stuff and here's the stuff. No, this is me as a consumer buying something that you as a consumer might be thinking about. And these are the reasons why I'm sending it back. Okay, so let's keep going. So another thing that just is not working for me. So, a lot of times I found myself starting here and using this as a regular phone, right? So that was the thing. I was very much using this, like this, because it is a phone. Like when you just got it like this and it's closed, it's a regular phone. But then I was like, oh, okay, this seems like a good time, whatever I was doing. Okay, let's see what this is like when I open it. Well, 9 times out of 10, when I went from actively working, the phone open, working in an application, to just opening the phone, it went back to this state and I had to unlock it again. Same thing when I'm was working on it this way and I wanted to go back to the closed state, then this screen went back to locked. Now, it was not 100% of the time, and I'm not going to have a month to be able to figure out what the pattern is. But almost every time I switched from the fold to the unfolded state, it would just absolutely, lock it all down again, and I'd have to go through and do it again. It seems like a strange choice to me. I don't know why that was happening. I mean, the good news is if it is an issue for other people and it gets reported, I'm assuming that's probably a software update that could fix it. So that's a good thing. But again, it was just one more thing that I was like, every time it went, I was like, it's kind of like, it's like the two-factor thing, right? Two-factor is a good idea, but every time you have to go and put in the code from the two-factor to get into an app, we all do the sigh, right? And that's what I caught myself doing every time I went from one version to the other here. So again, is that a deal breaker? That's going to depend on you. And again, on its own, if it had a stylus, I might have put up with it and filed a bug report saying, hey, I wanted to not do that every time I change from one to the other. Alrighty, we'll keep going. Tech, did you hear about the Google Pixel team saying you have to have good stuff about their products online? Oh, they said take it back. I don't care. I paid for it. So they can say whatever they want. It's not uncommon. Like if they give you something, like sometimes they'll say, if you don't like it, then don't do the review. Like that happens. I know sometimes. And some people just choose not to. Like some of the people who do get shit for free, will only give a review on the stuff that they do have good things to say about. And they won't, not that they won't Not that they won't necessarily balance it out, but if they really hate it or if it's really a dud, some of those people just choose not to then. Personal choice. Okay, so, and I think, are we almost to the end here? No, we got a few more. Okay, so the other thing that as I was, again, trying to do, I was trying to use it real world, like how I use my phone. I was trying to mimic things, right? So if I was doing something on this, I'm like, okay, let's go try this over here just to see. And one of the things I realized, and this again, this is probably a short-term problem. It's probably fixable. There may already be fixes out there for it. If I had more time, I would have gone and done more research and tested it. But because it's so thick, I don't think it's going to fit into most phone holders, like tripods, selfie sticks, non-magnetic ones that you use at the car. It's definitely not. I don't know of anybody who has a holder that would hold it in the open state. So here's the thing, like if you've got a slightly older car like I do, I don't have an infotainment system, which by the way, I'm fine with. I don't like that idea in my car. Other discussion. But if you wanted a bigger map to work with as you were driving, I don't think right now there's anything that you can put that would hold this safely in your car. So yes, would you have a bigger map? Yes. In the open state, but is there a way to do that? I don't know. I did do a very quick search. I'm, not committing to the fact that maybe somebody out there has got a solution for it, but it's certainly not going to fit into the standard ones. It's certainly not going to fit into the ones that you have already around the house. So there's that. Thank you, Ace. That's very kind. Maybe one of those magnet things. So I don't know that. Okay, so think about, so if the case is on the back here, right, because that's how it's going to be, and you've got the magnet thing here, the weight of this, I think, is either going to make it fall off or it's going to make it tilt on you, which could be okay because the screen does adjust. So whatever orientation you have in it, is it going to do that for me? Maybe not. Oh, it does. Okay. So, I mean, it does adjust to whatever orientation. So if it's just a matter of if you've got a case like that, and you put it on like this, and it goes too heavy, the screen would adjust. But I don't know that I would trust my $2,000 phone on one of those things. So there's that. Well, yeah. So, but a lot of people have that through the case. But even if it's on the phone itself, it's still that heavy. It's still that issue, right? So if this is, because this is where the magnet would be, because this, see again, I just can't hold this with one hand. I just can't. Let me tilt this a little bit. Okay, so this is the screen, so you're not going to want to put a magnet thing on there. So if it's here, again, if you automatically, put this on your car, on the magnet, it's probably going to turn and fall, I'm guessing. So there's that. There's magnetic buttons that connect directly to the back of the phone. Right, I'm just saying that I don't think a magnet would be, let me put it the other way. If you put a magnet on the back of this that was strong enough, it might actually interfere with the phone. Because I think you would need a serious amount of magnet in order to make sure that it doesn't go flying the first time you could turn left. So yeah, it might be a fix. I don't know that I would want to test it with my own phone. So there's that. Okay. So yeah, so we talked about the fact that it goes into that weird state every time. Doesn't work. Okay, so we're getting down to the end here. It does get, I must say, we'll go with very warm, maybe even hot when charging. And I tried it on, I used their cable. I used other cables that I've got. Didn't matter what I was using. Didn't matter, like, if I had it on my desk or, on something else. It just was always very warm or hot when I picked it up from charging. The charge time is impressive. Like, it does not take days to charge. The charge time is comparable to what I have on this one, but it makes me a little like anytime a phone gets hot, that says to me that the battery's getting warm, and we've all been through the battery issues. So that was a bit of a concern for me. I wasn't quite sure that was something I was going to be comfortable with. Like, I don't think I would leave it sitting around because there's that. Okay, so Tech is asking, how is reception practicality standpoint? So I ended up not signing it up for Google Fi, which was my original plan when we talked last week. I was going to, try to make phone calls from it like I can from this, get away from the house and Wi-Fi and try that. I'm glad I didn't, because I was willing to pay for that for a month as part of the testing, but uh, since I don't have a month, I'm glad I didn't spend that money. So I did do Wi-Fi calling, and that was fine. That worked perfectly well. But I can't speak to how it is on a standard cell plan. Sorry. Okay, and the last one, and again, remember, these are not in any particular order. These were just as the ideas occurred to me. I have several of the standing, so it's it's just a thing like you could just stand your Pixel phone in, or put your earbuds on, and it charges. So I don't constantly have to be plugging it in and unplugging it. I can just pop it in, and it gives you the benefit of like being able to see the screen and work with it while it's charging. Guess what? Doesn't work. Now, and they don't have one for sale on the store. So I don't know if it can do that kind of charging or if you have to plug it in every time. But if you do have to plug it in every time, that feels like a step backwards. Also, not really happy that I can't use the stuff that I've bought that I already have for my Pixel phone with this new Pixel. Again, that seems backwards. You would think there would be backwards compatibility, but there's not. And I don't know, like the fact that you can't put another device on here to charge it, like you can't do like I can with my other phone, like, put another phone on it or put the, Pixel Buds on it and have it charge. Is that a sign of the fact that it won't be able to charge in a stand? I don't know. I don't know. But again, did not make me happy. And it did not give me a reason to consider keeping it. But, so the big thing for me was this was mostly useful to me in this state. And I already have a phone that does that. So, if this phone, please no, if this phone was dead, okay, maybe I would have kept this, but this phone is not old. It's only the 8 Pro. And if this is how I'm going to use it, is the same way as this, and I'm not able to use it this way as much as I'd like to, and in particular one-handed, then there's no reason for me to keep it. So like I said, it is a great phone. Do not get me wrong. I want to be very, very clear about this. This is a very, very good phone. The screen is great. The speakers are great. Like I said, the Wi-Fi calling I did worked. It's snappy. The screen is crisp. The colors are good. The apps all worked. Some of the apps, the presentation was better. I think we did a little test like that with the calendar or something last time. There's enough apps out there that are tablet aware that work really well with this. So all of that, like there's a lot of good reasons, and I'm sure for very niche use cases or users, there's some really good use cases for this. But for me, as a daily driver kind of thing, it's just not like this phone is working for me, and I'll just keep using it. And I will save. I think by the time I was done, it was, I don't know, was it 1,700 or so? But it's going to go back. Kind of defeats the purpose. Yeah, it defeats the point. Is the camera better than the Pixel you have? I would say that it's maybe that much better. Like, it's not better enough to go, oh my God, this is the beginning and end of all phones. This is is it maybe slightly better? I mean, I took pictures, the same thing, and looked at them side by side. Maybe slightly different, but seriously not enough that anybody would really notice, in and of itself on its own. So yeah. And like I said, it lost the action pan, which I use a lot. Let me just verify, because, maybe something may have changed since I was playing with it too. So let me just double check and make sure that they didn't add it back in here. Okay, so we've got long exposure. We have add me, don't pop that up. Photo, night sight, panorama. Wow, is it missing more than just the auto? The pan is the one that I like to play with. Like that's Murphy and I have fun with that. 1, 2. Does this not have portrait? Is it missing? No, it does have portrait. Okay, wait, let me do a side by side here again. Okay, so they both have, it keeps wanting to bring up the add me thing. Okay, so they both have long exposure. The new phone has add me, but that's coming to the other Pixel devices, so I'm not going to worry about that. Portrait, they both have. Photo, they have. Night sight, they have. And panorama. So that's the big thing. Of course, it does the video. The videos that I took were very comparable to the one I have on the 8, so I'm not noticing anything big there. So for what that's worth. You know, if you are a hardcore photographer, maybe your eyes are trained to notice more differences. But for me, it feels very much like the same. Ah, Habon, hello. This is really funny. I got the Motorola Razr 2024 yesterday. Oh, cool. So is that, I don't know off the top of my head, is that just a standard phone or is that a fold phone? Because we are curious about the fold itself on other devices. I'm not financially in a place right now to go and buy more of these phones. But, woo, let me, right, so there's my messy room. So, you know, you can do the camera, you can do all that kind of stuff. And I mean, if you're taking the photos, like, this is okay because you can touch, you know, the buttons are on one side and the controls are on the other. And so from this standpoint, like, you could definitely do video, you could take pictures, you know, that way. Personally, I don't want to be at the concert with the person doing this. This is like the person at the concert doing it with, you know, like a tablet or something. You want to bop them in the back of the head. Oh, it is a fold phone. Okay, so, Yvonne, so maybe you can answer this for us. So one of the things that I'm whining about is the fact that, gimme. I can feel when I'm, can you hold your phone in one hand? When I go on, like, if I'm dragging something from one side to the other, I can feel the divot. You know, I can also see the divot, which bothers my brain. But can you, on that Razr 2024, do you feel the divot when you go across at where the fold is? Okay, so you can. Yeah. Oh, it's not nearly as big as this. Okay. That's interesting. Do you know off the top, like, how big it is? Because, I mean, basically what these are is, it's two phones basically put together. But okay, so you do. It's not very noticeable when looking at it. Okay. For me, I can't not see it, which I noticed from the very first moment. Like, when I'm working on it, no matter what angle I'm holding it, I can see it. And I sure as hell feel it as I move my finger across it. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see, like, after you've used yours for a while, like, what your thoughts are. Now, did you buy it as like a second phone, or is that going to be your daily driver? It's a regular size phone that holds phones vertically in half. Okay, so yeah, this one is more modeled over like the Pro size version, so the larger phones in the Pixel line. I don't think I have a smaller one handy. But yeah, it's modeled more off the bigger phone than it is the standard one. 6 something inches screen. Okay, cool. Yeah, do I have, hold on, let me see if I can. Okay, so so 6 inches side to side or diagonally? Well, actually mine's a square, so it won't really matter. So let me just see. Okay, well, that's what this is. So if you're going side to side, this is a 6-inch screen. So it sounds like it is pretty much the same size. It may just look bigger in my hands. Diagonally? Okay. Let me just, I'm pretty sure since it's square-ish that it would be the same. Oh, no. I lied. Diagonally, it's 8 inches. So maybe yours is a little bit smaller. Okay, so it's going to be your daily driver. That's great. You got $300 off. Oh, that's a good deal. Awesome. Way to go. So yeah, I'll be asking you when you swing by on the other stuff we do, as you're using it, what your thoughts are. So what made you buy it? Do you have a use case for it, or because, I mean, you're kind of geeky like us? Is it just because you're like, okay, foldable phone, let me go check it out? Have you had a foldable before, or is this your first? Now, I wish I could bring you on so we could talk. I'm not set up for that today. But yeah, I'm just curious, like, because one of the things for me from the beginning with these things was finding use cases. And I'm just not, for me, I'm not really finding it. Oh, and the other thing is, do you know if your phone works with a stylus? Like, does it come with one, or would it work with one if you get like a third party? Because that's, for me, like I said earlier, if this worked with a stylus, I miss the Samsung Note devices so much that I might have ended up keeping this if I could have a stylus, but that's an obsession I have. You need a new phone. I like Motorola. The price was right. Gotcha. Doesn't come with a stylus. Not sure if it works with one. Fair enough. I'm going to go and do a little research because I'm just curious now. But so that's what it is. It's a good phone. It's a very good phone, right? screen is great. You know, the responsive, the screens, the speakers, like all the stuff you want a modern phone to have, it has, and it works, except for Action Pan. Um, but it doesn't hit the important things for me. And then some of the other things are annoying enough that, again, on their own, it probably would not have been as much of an issue. But combined with the fact it doesn't do some of the things I need it to, it's not really working for me. So, yeah. So, Yvonne, thank you so much for cruising by and letting us know, because that's great. Timing, right? It's all about timing in life. Tim, do you have the 256 or the 512? I went with the 512. Whenever I buy a phone, I always get as much memory as I can. That's just, again, because I use it more as a computer than I do a phone. And so I don't want to have to jerk around with all that. Also, since you can't do, and I'm just double checking myself, I don't think this does SD cards. No. Back when we could put SD cards in, sometimes when, finances were a little tight, I would get the lower memory phones and then put a honkin' SD card in there. But without that, yeah. So this is the 512. So I'm glad I did this, because it did make me understand a little bit more about it. But yeah, it's just not for me. It may be awesome for you. So please don't, she got it and returned it, and so I'm not going to get it. I'm not at all saying that. I'm saying that, you need to figure out what's important to you. Check to see if whichever folded phone you're looking at has those things, and then maybe it's worth giving it a try. But it's a little pricey for me to just do on a whim and keep. So, yeah. Yvonne's telling us that the Razr doesn't accept SD cards. I found that out after the fact. One thing that pissed you off. Yeah, I'm sorry. I want SD cards back, and I want headphone jacks. I will die on that corner. I just absolutely will. So there's that. So Tim, are you thinking about getting a foldable? Do you already have one? Because again, we're collecting information here for everybody. And really would love to hear from some people who are like hardcore. I use it for these things, and you'll take it from my dead cold hands kind of thing. Because that would also, I think, help other people figure out whether or not it's the right way to go for them. But also, yeah, to be able to hold it with one hand and do things with it. Like, yes, okay, I can kind of hold it with this, but as soon as I start working on it, it's a little unstable. I haven't dropped it, but I really could see me dropping this, and probably on a sidewalk someplace, because that's how those things happen, right? Tim, I am, but Verizon only offers the 256 version. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Well, if you bought the... Well, no, okay. I mean, if you get the unlocked version from the Google Play Store, maybe that would work for you with Verizon, because it's unlocked. It's just something to think about. But yeah, so it was an interesting experiment. I do wish I could have more time with it, but since I know it's going back, I don't want to risk like cutting it too close. So over the weekend, I am going to start the process of sending it back, because it turns out they don't give you a month to figure it out. You only get 2 weeks. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for coming by. I love all the folks' ideas and feedback. I'm here every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You're always welcome to come and hang out live in the chat if you like, but also I do go to all the platforms and I read the comments. So if you have your own thoughts, if you've tried this, if there's anything you're curious about, like I said, I will have it for a few more days, so I'm happy to do some testing for people if they want. But don't hesitate. You can go ahead and do that there. Or if you need help, or you have other things that you want to share, you can go to yourtechcoach.com. There's a contact form there. If you have topics you want me to cover, this is a really good way to let me know about those. And hopefully you will swing by again, or, come to a live with us and hang out. Yvonne, yeah, I'm psyched that you folks were able to cruise on by. So hope you have a great weekend. Those of you on Twitch, I will be gaming later tonight after I feed the beast and do a few things. So hope to see you there, and we will talk again soon. Bye.